No baseball, basketball, or hockey to get you through until the football weekend? Don't worry, we have you covered over at WagerTalk and Sportsmemo with our soccer handicappers. Get the rest of 2020 from your favorite soccer expert with an all-access soccer package for just $249. This is normally priced at $399, but right now it's discounted $150 off, and it includes any 5% plays normally priced at $40. Just head over to WagerTalk and Sportsmemo.com to take advantage of this deal to lock in one of your soccer experts through the end of the year.
He's Teddy Covers. I am Lawrence Presman, and it's Wager Talk Today, last show of the week. So much going on in this show, Teddy. Rob Veno right up top. Temple, Central Florida, Penn State, Nebraska, Philly and the Giants. Matt Joseph at the bottom of the hour. All props, all the time. And no Ralph today, Teddy. John Ryan, a new handicapper to the Wager Talk family. He will be joining us, and we're going to take apart the Sunday night football game. Your big game breakdown. Cincinnati tonight in college football. But our lead story, dude, Indianapolis laid the smackdown to Tennessee, although Tennessee laid the smackdown to themselves. Good game. Didn't go well for me, but man, a lot of wise, smart money came in on Indianapolis, and it turned out to be right.
So good morning, Lawrence. Lawrence is your first name, right? Lawrence Presman, right? That's the deal. Oh, you're trying to give the Teddy stare down.
Aren't you hilarious?
Yeah.
That's an inside joke, everybody.
Yeah. So
always good
let's
to
start
have inside jokes on our show.
Let's start with Friday the 13th. All right. So are you a superstitious guy? Because I know there are people, I genuinely know people that will not make a bet on Friday the 13th. They like to go into hiding. And when it comes to superstition, I got my lucky underwear, I've got silly stuff like that, nothing I take seriously. But Friday the 13th for me is just another day. What about you? But my kids all freaked out about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's just another day. But yes, I am somewhat superstitious. When I need a field goal to win, and I call my youngest kid upstairs, we stand on one leg with our hands in the air, elbows touching. So I would say that's superstitious, but it's more for fun. One thing I know, Teddy, and I'll just say this from my perspective, I am literally not important enough in the grand scheme of the universe to have effect on any of these scores.
Sure.
Nobody is looking to me.
Yeah, exactly. If I had the power to change a field goal from going in and out, I wouldn't waste it on a small bet. And certainly last night, when you talk about the Colts and the Titans last night, special teams were the lead story of the game, where Tennessee signs a punter and then the punter melts down in game on multiple punts and ends up being cheap scores for the Colts and ends up sending the game over the total, gets Indy all the momentum. But the bottom line in that game, the Colts defense got the job done. The Titans defense didn't. And everyone's like, well, Tannehill had a bad game and Rivers was good. That's true. But Tannehill was under pressure and Rivers wasn't. And it made an enormous difference.
Well,
and who controlled the line of scrimmage.
And Teddy, look, we did expect that. But I mean, I was on Tennessee last night, and I'm going to say a couple of things. Brown dropped a touchdown pass to go up 14-0. Easy, right in the bucket. And that 14-0, that stuff changes things. And not only Teddy, but, the Titans were bend, don't break. They 2 goal line stands. A lot went wrong for Tennessee. The punting was abysmal. The missed field goal made it so they became one-dimensional. But with all that said, Indy was the right play. And Phillip Rivers looked good last night, to his credit. The team is well-balanced. Frank Reich is a hell of a coach and kind of looks a little like you.
I'll take Frank Reich. There's way worse looks than that. Again, I used to say I look like David Schwimmer. I didn't want any part of him. So I'll take Frank Reich over that. Yeah, no problem. Let's bring in Rob.
Rob Veno, before we get to you, brother, I don't know if you know this. I want to make a huge announcement to everybody. Guys, we've been running a practical joke all week on Teddy. Today is actually Teddy's birthday. So I want to stop the show really quickly and say, Teddy, happy birthday, present for you. We have so much love in our heart for you. I want to apologize for the last 2 days. We should not have wished you a happy birthday early. So happy birthday for Friday the 13th, Teddy.
Please just let it go. Just let it go. Thank you.
Rob, anything you want to say to Teddy?
I saw it on Twitter a couple of days ago. I did not fall for it because pranks of Teddy's birthday were being played during the NBA show. So today is his birthday.
It's a thing.
Teddy. Happy birthday today, Teddy.
It's not my birthday.
Really your birthday. It's not your birthday?
No.
Rob, he says that every day. Today is literally his birthday. Listen, Rob, 13-4 NFL run, dude. I am so freaking jealous of you. I'm not even looking at you with eyes of love. It's more eyes of anger. Why aren't you picking my damn plays instead of me? 36-20 this NFL season. Number 1 in NFL so far this year at WagerTalk.com. Not only that, dude, number 1 handicapper at WagerTalk.com for 2020. I want to be you right now.
Well, last year in the NFL, Prez, I wanted to be you. That was your run, right? Last year you were strong.
For the second
NFL.
half
I
of the
was
season.
Struggling.
Yeah.
But I'll take the role reversal. I mean, listen, when we're winning, we're very, very happy. We hope it never ends. So far, the year, 2020 has been a disaster of a year, unless it comes to my handicapping. That's been really good, so I'm happy with it.
Excellent stuff. Guys, let's get straight into it. Temple against Central Florida. UCF minus 25. Rob, I'm guessing you're going with the favorite. You sent the notes to me.
I did send the notes to you, President. It's not something I do more than once a season in college football. I'm just not a big proponent of laying these types of prices, but here I will. And let's just start with the fact that, this game opened 28, guys, and came down as far as 24, I think, based upon the news that Anthony Russo was back at practice, quarterback for Temple, and ready to go here. But I don't know that UCF shouldn't be 28 with Anthony Russo on the field. So I thought there was extreme value in the price tag. It's now since gone up to 25. If he's unable to go, remember he's recovering from a shoulder injury, but he has practiced all week. Then sophomore Real Mitchell, more of a dual threat guy with a weaker arm, will go in his place. He's played the last couple of weeks. Temple, guys, aside from the quarterback position, it's a team that's down to 50 scholarship players. Through injuries, through COVID protocol and whatnot, they have just been wiped out, and especially on the defensive side of the football. On the offensive side, you can add to it that their lead receiver, Randall Jones, is going to be out of this game, so Jaden Blue going to have to take over there. But this defense, despite being inexperienced, has been hit really hard by injuries. They wore down last week in the second half against SMU. Just to indicate how badly they wore down, they allowed 6 straight second-half scoring drives by SMU, 37 points in all. Last week, they allowed 5 TDs from outside the red zone. 4 of those were passes. They wore down in what were excellent fall conditions, weather-wise, here in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic. In Florida, Orlando, Florida, you can tack on about 84% humidity forecasted for tomorrow night. I could see them wearing down against this offense once again. It's tough to play Central Florida with a good defense, never mind a banged up and inexperienced defense. The Central Florida defense, guys, you could argue back, hey, Rob, they're missing 4 starters. They were missing those 4 starters from the Houston game, the game prior, when they got arrested in an incident where a traffic incident where they were pulled over and subsequently guns were found in the car. But they went out with 4 new defenders. 3 of those are third year in the program. but they held Houston and that offense without a touchdown for 40 minutes, the first 40 minutes of the game. A lot of articles afterwards about how great of a defensive performance that was for UCF. Again, they're not great. They're predicated on forcing turnovers. Anthony Russo has been an interception machine. I just don't think there's any way Temple keeps up. They're going to have to be in chase mode all game long. I can see something in the vicinity of 56-21 here. Cincinnati's on deck, but I don't think it's UCF's personality offensively to worry about who's on deck. They're pedal to the floor all game long. I'll lay the 25 here with UCF. I think they might even exceed 60 in this game against this defense.
Sure. I mean, Temple's been pretty rough. And Temple, of course, without a bye week, UCF coming in after the bye week. But you brought up that Cincinnati game on deck. And that worries me coming out of the bye because you had 2 weeks to prepare against an opponent that you can beat. Do you think UCF is focused on Temple during this, or do you think they're already looking ahead at least a little bit to the Cincinnati side?
Yeah, I would lean that way, Teddy. I would say that they used a good portion of their time off dedicated to Cincinnati. However, I think that offense can take the field against this defense without much more than their basic game plan and score from outside the red zone on big plays. They may get Trey Nixon back, their top wide receiver for this game. Hasn't played since the opener. So I just don't think it matters whether they game plan for Temple or not. I think they roll here offensively, and Temple just can't keep up.
Rob Veno, great stuff. Awesome breakdown like you always do. It's why you got the Big Spot Fridays show. Penn State, Nebraska, Rob. You're going to look at the total here. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, let me say first, Prez, that I feel like Nebraska, for the remainder of the season, needs to be looked at each and every game off of what I saw last week against Northwestern. I'm playing over here because I'm trying to be a little bit proactive. You can take Nebraska's first 2 games worth of statistical results and say, hey, there's a quarterback controversy. Hey, they're not scoring any points. Hey, they're turning the ball over. From start to finish, watching that game against Northwestern last week, this team is now due to put everything together and break out offensively. Now, they've played what are arguably 2 of the best defenses in the Big Ten so far, Ohio State and Northwestern. Last week against Northwestern, 442 total yards and only 13 points. The two don't correlate. They were inside the red zone 6 times. They were inside the Northwestern 25 7 times and still only came away with 13 points. Eventually, those type of numbers erode, and you become far more efficient when you're close to the end zone. I think that happens starting on Saturday for this team. The dual quarterback threat, the running quarterback threat, I think it works both ways here, guys. You have Adrian Martinez. You have Luke McCaffrey on one side. This offense, if you just think back to what a Scott Frost offense looked like when he was coordinator at Oregon under Chip Kelly, when he was at UCF, that's what this is starting to look like here. The quarterbacks have to erase the mistakes, but they can move the football. And I think the quarterback dual threat causes problems for both sides here because Penn State poses the same threat to Nebraska. But I could see them moving the football here. I think they cut back on turnovers. I think they become more efficient inside the red zone. And I think Penn State is not the defense that Northwestern and Ohio State are. So there's a little step down in defensive class there. For the Penn State side, yardage hasn't been a problem. They're averaging over 400 yards per game. Allowing points has been a problem, 35 plus every game. It's another team, guys, that, they've been in chase mode all 3 games, and it's kind of forced them out of their identity. I don't know that they'll be severely chasing here, 2 touchdowns or more. I think they can cause problems for a Nebraska defense that hasn't been great, especially on the back end where pass is concerned. So, again, it's a proactive play, thinking that both of these teams are ready to break out against a number of 56.5 by college standards with these 2 types of offenses. To me is a little low. 30-27 gets you paid. I'll take my chances.
Yeah, so I was looking at the Nebraska side in this game, Rob, and I left it on the short list. I did not, I have not yet at least pulled the trigger on the Huskers. The thought process being, I can't bet this team on the come. The last 2 years, you're like, all right, this is the week for Nebraska. No, they're coming. No, really, this is the week. And it feels like this is the week. It really does. And Penn State's a team I have no hesitation to bet against, but I got to see it before I bet it with that team. So I totally get what you're saying about offensively, and all the quotes were good. But that's it's been 2.5 years of expectations without meeting any of them. I'm going to see Nebraska play a good game before I bet on them. Let's talk about your last game now. The Giants and the Eagles, NFL action for Sunday. Philly laying -3/3.5. What's your take on the Eagles and the Giants?
Well, I'm going to play the Eagles side. It might not be the most popular side here, Teddy, because I know the Giants have picked up some affection the last couple of weeks, mostly from a defensive standpoint. But the Eagles are off their bye week. If we look back to the initial meeting between these two teams, the statistical numbers were so lopsided in favor of the Eagles. They don't really indicate a 22-21 final. In that game, Eagles 442 total yards. They're plus 17 in that category. They have a 27-17 first down edge. The Giants run for what looks like a really good 160 yards, 7.3 a carry, until you remember that 80 of that was Daniel Jones on one play before he blew a tire. Minus that out, and they're only 80 yards rushing on 21 carries. Really quick here. Guys for the Eagles on the offensive side of the football that are going to play this game have practiced all week. Lane Johnson limited yesterday. But guys that are going to play this week that didn't play in the first game: Miles Sanders, Alshon Jeffrey, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Reagor. Lane Johnson played in the first game. Jason Peters did not. He will play in this game. That's almost their entire offense, TC. The skill positions should be much, much better this time. 442 yards the first time around without these guys. I think it happens for them even stronger this time where total yards and points are concerned. And I'll make one more point. Last week up 20-3, the Giants in coast mode in the third quarter, and Alex Smith begins to shred them through the air with one legitimate receiver. Alex Smith goes 24 of 32 for 325 in 3 quarters. So to me, the Eagles can move the football here. I think they'll clean up some stuff that wasn't cleaned up the first time. 3.5 to me seems to be a bargain. I'll take the Eagles -3.5.
Rob Veno, you are so good at this. Thanks so much for having taking the time out of your day to join us on a very, very special Teddy's birthday edition of Wager Talk Today. Rob, anything to promote? Yeah, Teddy, keep looking upset, baby. That's the point. Rob, anything to promote?
I think you did a great job of it, Prez. The NFL has been great. #1 at Wager Talk. All sports all year long. #1 at Wager Talk. College football guys on an 18-7 run. Last 25, 3-0 start to this week after the game went over last week. So everything's been good. No complaints here.
You're the best. Guys, let's take a quick break. Right back with Teddy's Bad Beat segments, big bets, bad schmubbity-doobs. I never really remember it. Oh, what is that? Oh, look at you, Teddy. You got so many gifts today from the Wager Talk family. Right back with Teddy's segment, and then Matt Joseph props.
No baseball, basketball, or hockey to get you through until the football weekend? Don't worry, we have you covered over at WagerTalk and Sportsmemo with our soccer handicappers. Get the rest of 2020 from your favorite soccer expert with an all-access soccer package for just $249. This is normally priced at $399, but right now it's discounted $150 off, and it includes any 5% plays normally priced at $40. Just head over to WagerTalk and Sportsmemo.com to take advantage of this deal to lock in one of your soccer experts through the end of the year.
Welcome back to Wager Talk Today. It is time for Bad Beats, Bad Bets, and Bad for the Books. The 6 B's. Bad Beats, Bad Bets, Bad for the Books. There we go. All right. Only 2 games on the U.S. slate last night. Of course, internationally held, there's probably 1,000 bad beats and bad bets that I'm not tracking on a nightly basis. But last night in the NFL, the books that catered to sharp bettors did not do well. Heavy sharp money on Indy. The Colts went from plus 2.5. They closed -1, even -1.5 at some shops. So wise guy special Indy last night, that cashed in. And for the books that cater to recreational bettors, it was a two-way action game. It wasn't a game there wasn't a sharp square divide game. All the sharp money came on one side. The recreational money was split between the two teams. So not a bad result sidewise for anyone except the books that cater to the biggest bettors. There was also some over money that came in before kickoff. That too cashed, not great for the house. In college football, we saw Colorado State money coming in like the hour before kickoff. -16 for Boise, down to -14 in the hour before the game. Well, that wasn't the right side. Boise pretty well had that one controlled by halftime. Over money in that game as well, that cash. So split result on the college football game. In the NFL game, the wise guys won. The college game, the wise guys lost. There you have it. Bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. Let's get back to Football Friday here on WagerTalk Today.
Well, that's another way to refer to it. Welcome, everybody, to the chat room. We just love having you all with us. Jason, Ken, Zach, Robert, Nate, Chance. I haven't seen you in a few days. Same with you, Paco, Kenneth, Money Mondays, Nuaz, Big Daddy, so many of you guys. We love you all. It's so greatly appreciated. Teddy, I just want to say one thing before we get back to you. Guys, we do get some tips from you guys. You donate money to us through YouTube. We appreciate it greatly. As I have said, we are going to donate all those tips to an animal shelter. We're going to rotate. We got one in Vegas that we usually donate to, and we are going to do one in Toronto because some of our Canadian guys want to know if we're going to do that in Toronto as well. So shout out to any of you guys for tipping us. Thank you. We're not going to keep any of that money. 100% of it will be donated. Teddy, what's up?
I mean, first of all, we appreciate the tips. You don't need to tip us. The show is free.
Hey, we're donating to charity. What do you? Don't listen to Teddy. Tip us. We're donating this money to charity. We're not keeping it.
I understand. The show is free. Thank you for the tips. It is. I don't work for tips. I did that. I don't do that anymore. So look, Prez, the show's averaging. We've been around for 2 months. We're getting 7,000 plus views a day. Okay, that's hot. Friday shows are getting even more than that. Yeah, we're getting 10,000 views on Fridays. So we are looking. This show is in one mode. It's in growth mode. Okay, everything's free. We're not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. It's not a constant sales pitch. It's about good info for an hour every day or for 50, 55 minutes every day. 7,000 already. Please tell your friends. That's all we ask. Tell your friends about WagerTalk Today. We're trying to get this show. You know, Prez, I've done shows where I get 10,000 live every day. You know, if I'd like to be at that level in the not too distant future, we can do that here. Please tell your friends. And thank you, all 7,000 of you who are watching on a daily basis. That's freaking awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and guys, make sure to subscribe to our channel, WagerTalk TV, YouTube. We got to keep getting those subscribers up. We need to keep our likes going up. Really important to us. I mean, that's literally, in all seriousness, the only thing Teddy and I really ask for on a regular basis is tell your friends, subscribe to our channel, and hit that thumbs up button. Which all takes 2 seconds. Other than that, and especially today on Teddy's birthday, a perfect day to hit that thumbs up button. Teddy, balloons for you. We love you, bro. And you know what, Teddy? Every year you have a birthday is a year you're not dead. Matt Joseph.
Amen for that.
Matt Joseph, a youngin, joining us to talk. Matt, we absolutely love having you, man. Just absolutely slaughtering. You do great work on the NFL presidential address. Such a pleasure, dude. I want to give out some of your numbers before we get into it. 60% in college football since September 5th. 66% in college football team totals on the entire year. You're also on an 8-3 NFL run. And on top of that, you are young to be Teddy's kid. Welcome to Wager Talk Today, bro.
That'd be really weird since Teddy's celebrating his 42nd birthday today.
Okay, we don't lie on the show. That was yesterday and the day before. It's his 73rd birthday, and he looks really good.
Well,
it's getting old,
would be
guys.
Really good for 73.
It's an old bit now. It's been beaten to death. Let it go. Just let it go, Lawrence.
Teddy, I tell my mother this all the time. My mother she has a husband, an alpha male husband, and 3 alpha male boys. All of us love to fart. She can't handle us farting ever. We fart louder. Don't get upset or annoyed, and then we don't do it anymore. With that said, happy birthday, Teddy. Matt, let's go, dude. Let's start right off the bat with Baker Mayfield. What do you got for us?
Well, we're going to have a good old-fashioned wind game once again in Cleveland. It looks like 28 to 30 mile per hour winds with some potential for rain for this game. And last time we saw this, the Browns and Raiders played an ugly contest, 16-6. There was about that much in the way of wind speed in that one. Baker Mayfield in that game was 12 of 25, 122 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, and his longest completion was 25 yards. So I'm looking at under 34.5 yards for the longest completion for Baker Mayfield, even in normal conditions. He's gone over that number 3 times, 1 to Harrison Bryant, 1 to Austin Hooper, and 1 to Odell Beckham, who's obviously not playing. So I'll take a shot here at under 34.5 yards for the longest completion for Baker Mayfield in the wind tunnel that is Cleveland.
Sure. I'm struggling to find the next question I'm supposed to ask you. Something about Mike Evans. There it is.
Okay. Go ahead, Teddy.
Sure. It's in there somewhere. Mike Evans is a guy who you are looking at this week against the Carolina Panthers. What are we going to do with him?
So this is pretty much the same conversation we had actually in week 2 when I was talking about, because Mike Evans is coming off a play in New Orleans. And when you look at New Orleans, Marshawn Lattimore pretty much follows Mike Evans off the bus. And the big talk after last week's game was that Mike Evans was open more and Tom Brady missed him. And I love that Bruce Arians has no problem calling out Tom Brady because he's not afraid of him. Mike Evans is facing Carolina, a team he dominated way back in week 2, 10 targets, 7 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown. So I'm looking at over 51.5 receiving yards for Mike Evans in this game. Last year against Carolina, he had 9 catches for 96 yards and 4 catches for 61 yards. And this is a guy who, when he catches the ball, he breaks off some big-time catches. So we're looking at the yards this time. Usually I go receptions, but this time we're going yards, 51.5 receiving yards over for Mike Evans.
Matt, last week you came on Wager Talk Today, or it might have been the NFL presidential address, and you said take the Jets to score over a half a point in the first quarter. Nice win, brother. You got another one for us in regards to the Giants this time.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, if you watch the presidential address, you and I disagree on how this Giants-Eagles game is going to go. But once again, we're getting some value here. Over half a point in the first quarter for the Giants. This is a team that has scored a first-quarter touchdown in 5 straight games, including that Eagles game in Philadelphia when it was 7-7 at the end of the first quarter. The Eagles are 27th in the NFL, allowing 6.5 points per first quarter this season. Doug Peterson, not the best coach coming off a bye week. So therefore, I think the Giants over a half a point to score in the first quarter means a field goal, safety, touchdown, whatever it is. I think the Giants get on the board early against the Eagles on Sunday.
So I figured out what happened. All right, for those of you out there in viewerland, what happened in this is that, so what Prez cut. So Matt sent us a list of what he wanted to talk about last night, which had everything clearly done. Like, here's this one, here's that one, here's that one.
How am I going to get blamed for this one? Can't wait.
Without formatting, so we couldn't see where the break is for one, where the break is for the next. So we missed half of the stuff that Matt asked us to talk about. So Matt, let's now I've got the original list that you sent so we can go through the games in more of the order that you asked us to. And we're going to go with Evan Engram, who's a guy who we've talked about before on this show as someone who you liked prop-wise. You like Evan Engram to get some catches against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, over 3.5 receptions is what I'm finding with Evan Engram, and I'm going to keep going back to it. You mentioned it. We talked about it last week. It hit 3 straight games with 9+ targets, and of course, one of those games was against the Eagles. He had 9 targets, 6 catches for 46 yards. Of course, he had the big drop that gave the Eagles the chance to win. Quarterbacks have a 80.3 completion percentage of throwing to tight ends against the Eagles. That is the second highest in the league. Now, it doesn't look like Nate Gary is going to play, and he's the guy that lets a lot of these tight ends get open, but Evan Engram is a big part of this offense. Remember, Darius Slay is locking down number 1 receivers on everybody's team. So Evan Engram figures to get some shots here. We'll go over 3.5 receptions for the Giants tight end.
Outstanding stuff, Matt. And yeah, I'll take blame for it, Ted. You know what? Blame me for everything, Teddy. Blame me for the fact it's Friday the 13th. Matt Joseph, Drew Lock. I over and under on whether he shaves. That kid looks 5 years old. What do you got for us?
So I know the number's not out yet because there's some question marks with regards to the Broncos wide receiving core. But if Judy and Patrick are healthy, I like over 1.5 touchdown passes. I don't have a huge amount of respect for the Raiders. They've allowed touchdown passes to all but one QB, except for Baker Mayfield in that win game. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Justin Herbert all have had 2+ touchdowns, and he's thrown 5 touchdown passes the last 2 weeks against the Falcons and Chargers combined. He's also figuring to be chasing some points here potentially and has thrown over 40 passes in each of the last 3 weeks. As I said, I like Judy. I like Tim Patrick. So when this number comes out, if it's 1, definitely hit it. If it's 1.5, hit it. If it's 2, you could potentially get a push here. But I think Drew Lock gets multiple touchdowns and a potential win for the Broncos against the Raiders this weekend.
What kind of price do you think we're going to see on that? Let's say, let's call it 1.5 touchdowns. Is that going to be a plus money prop, or is that something you're going to have to lay a price with?
Unfortunately, touchdown props usually shade to the over. So if you get in early enough, you'll get a better prop. And if it comes up on Sunday, it's going to be -150, because everybody just blindly bets over because everybody thinks every touchdown is going to be a pass. So if you get in early enough, you'll get a reasonable juice number here. If you wait till Sunday, it's going to be -150, -155, which I don't usually take those when it comes to props because, look, it's not a guarantee Drew Lock's going to throw 2 touchdowns. So you at least want to get a better price for something like that.
Yeah,
sure.
last
Lock's
night,
had some pretty good fourth quarters of late. No question about it. Let's talk college team totals. You already gave us an NFL team total with the Giants over 0.5 point. The winner that you gave us last week on the Jets over 0.5 point. You went back and looked and said there were 6 teams lined at 0.5 point in the NFL for the first quarter. You like that Giants over. Let's talk about the Miami Hurricane in terms of team total. Hurricanes in terms of their team total. Early start game at Virginia Tech on Saturday.
Yeah, we're 4-0 in the show. And last week we gave out Georgia State first half and full game, and that covered easily because Louisiana Monroe is a terrible team in the first half. But I like this Miami Hurricanes team going into Blacksburg and getting a touchdown in the first quarter. They've scored a first quarter touchdown in every game except Clemson, which was a disaster for them. De'Ara King, looking at his statistics here, he has a 74.6% completion percentage in the first quarter, 50 of 67 with 6 touchdown passes to no interceptions. I think a lot of people are trying to get used to that speed and tempo they play with, and they struggle. It's by far his best completion percentage in any quarter. When you look at the Tech side, the defense has struggled to what they were supposed to be. Now, look, they've had COVID issues, they've had injury issues, and every week it seems like somebody is out. 4 of 7 opponents have scored first quarter touchdowns against the Hokies this season. NC State, Louisville, and BC did not. BC should have. They kept fumbling the ball on drives. And Tech has struggled traditionally with mobile quarterbacks and quick strike offenses. You look at that Liberty game last week, they had problems with Malik Willis. So I think Miami goes into Blacksburg, gets an early touchdown or 3 field goals. I don't know how that would happen, but over 6.5 points in the first quarter for Miami in this one in the first quarter.
Matt, thanks so much for joining us, brother. Every Friday, you guys can hear Matt on WagerTalk Today. And of course, if you want to hear prop bets for every single NFL game, check out the NFL presidential address. Matt, Ralph, and myself. It's an hour and 15-minute show. It's a long one. It's the second most watched show in our Wager Talk universe. Matt, anything to promote?
Yeah, prop it up coming up at 4:00 with Andy Lang and Andrew McGinnis, and we'll do more props and stuff. It's a show that's gaining in popularity, and we always appreciate it. And certainly the college football packages will be up. You read the numbers, doing really well in college football nowadays, so they will be up later tonight.
Thanks, brother. We'll be right back, everybody. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown.
First customers at WagerTalk.com and Sportsmemo.com receive $25 in wager bucks after your first initial purchase. All you have to do is sign up, make your purchase, and you'll get $25 in credit.
It is Big Game Breakdown time here on the Football Friday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll talk a little ESPN2 action tonight, Cincinnati and East Carolina. And yeah, I'm trying to focus on games for that day here in Big Game Breakdown. You don't have to play games for tomorrow or the next day or a week from now. We want actionable stuff for tonight. So that's why I'm focusing on this particular matchup, even though we are talking about Cincinnati, nearly a 4-touchdown favorite over the East Carolina Pirates. It's not expected to be a competitive game. Well, last year's game was competitive since he was minus 24, 46-40 final. Bearcats won by 3. In 2018, they were minus 24, and again, never sniffed a point spread cover in that range. In 2018, the previous year, since he's minus 15.5, final score 55-6. All right. So since he's going to get there, so we can be pretty confident that the Bearcats are going to be able to put up points against this East Carolina team. It is not a good defense. Desmond Ritter's on fire. What's he, 19 touchdowns? Jared Dokes is off the biggest game of his season, 184 yards rushing last week. But when we think about Cincinnati's strength, it's the defensive side of the football. Ritter's good. The offense is good. The defense, best in the AAC by wide margin, number 5 in the nation, only less than 12 points per game allowed. Number 5 in pass efficiency defense. And you look what they've done over the last 3 weeks against good offenses every time. Houston, 38-10. They were minus 12.5, covered with ease. Memphis, 49-10. They were minus 7, covered with ease. SMU, they were the dog in that game, plus 1. They won 42-13, covered with ease. 3 huge games for Cincy, back-to-back-to-back. On deck, just a matchup with UCF that we talked about a little bit earlier in the show, where it could be a potential look ahead for UCF as well. So they're playing tough opponents, and they're smacking them, destroying them. You have a huge game on deck. You're coming off 3 huge wins. We know how good Cincy is. Cincy's not surprising anyone in the betting markets at this stage. East Carolina, look, they had an outright upset win over Tulsa, taken away from them by the refs. It was bad. They did hang tough as a 17.5-point road dog in that game, stepped up in class well. The offense has worked. They've scored 21-plus in every game. They had a bad game last week. They really did. They looked outclassed against Tulane, and that's not a good sign for this matchup. But I like the QB Holton Ahlers. All right. They've been able to run the football with Drajak Harris. All right. The defense has improved somewhat from last year, and at plus 27.5, the backdoor potential is there. I'm not convinced since he's fully focused on this one. I got to look at the dog here. East Carolina plus. I'm going to get involved in this game tonight. Back to you, Prez. There's the Big Game Breakdown.
Teddy covers. So at the break, you said, Prez, look at your numbers. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're like, the opening line report is getting more views than the NFL presidential address. And well, it's okay to be wrong, Teddy. I mean, I know it's your birthday, so I don't want to harp on it, but I just looked. Yours went up on Monday and has 7.2 thousand views, 7,200 views. The NFL presidential address went up on Wednesday, giving you a 2-day head start, and we're at 9,000. Now, 9,000 is greater.
Yeah, that's a bummer that we lost your mic there, Prez. Yeah, keep talking. And maybe I phrased it wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I phrased it wrong. Instead of saying the most watched, it's the most liked.
Third,
other than better.
Oh,
yeah,
most
people
liked.
people watch presidential address.
Oh, so another challenge has been offered. Well, let's go take a look, Teddy. I can't wait to have John Ryan come on. I don't think he knows he's coming on your birthday show. 339 likes, Teddy. That could be more. That is, you know what? And with that said, I like that show a lot, that opening line report. Great stuff, dude. Let's see. Here we go. Da-da-da-da. 457 for the presidential address. 457, 339. Teddy gets boned again.
So, for those of you watching, recognize right now Prez is getting more views and more likes, and my show's a heck of a lot better than his. So, I encourage you to check it out on Monday. Let's bring in John Ryan. What do you say? Yeah. First time here on Wager Talk today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. Happy birthday,
John,
by the way.
It's not my...
Thank you for saying that, John. Yeah, it's been Teddy's birthday all week, actually. Listen, we are so excited to have you with us as part of the Wager Talk family. Guys, John Ryan, you can find him at sportsmemo.com. We're going to talk Sunday night football, but before we get there, John, tell us a little bit about yourself and your decades of experience in this industry.
Well, I'll try to do that briefly. I have 26 years of experience now. A lot of it started on Wall Street, where I started building neural nets back in the day and back propagation models. And they were designed to go back into history and recognize a certain pattern that was occurring now, and then be able to say, what happens next? We have this pattern, and now we have history to tell us what happens next. So a crude oil trader that reported to me said one day, why don't you apply that to sports? And I, honest to God, looked at him and I said, you're out of your mind. It's a coin flip. Well, 26 years later, here I am and doing machine learning stuff. And I'm never trying to impress people with these big words, like deep learning and machine learning. It's been around since the 1940s and the 1950s. But they are great tools that can bring in a lot of intelligence, not just in sports betting, but across a wide array of industries. So that's
Teddy?
about it, I guess.
Yes. So I'm sure you're talking about a Wall Street background. Because that always intrigues me with the guys, because I've known a number of successful sports bettors that have a Wall Street background. I can, whatever. I don't want to start naming names, but the concept of recognizing values, the concept of math models, the concept of trading and understanding sometimes you take losses, I think bodes well. You still work on Wall Street? How long have you been there? Are you off?
No,
tell me your background there.
18 years. I stopped that career in 2000. I briefly had a bad time. I was diagnosed with a rare blood cancer and given 6 to 12 months to live. And there was another plan here. I started going into this pretty full time after that. So the markets are the same, and I always like telling people this. If you don't mind me taking a minute on this one,
go ahead, John.
The Vegas betting line, as we all know, is not a prediction by Vegas on the outcome of a game. It's their estimation of where human behavior and human sentiment are going to align, so they have equal action on both sides. And it's the same thing in the marketplace with Apple computer stock, for example. The market makers want that price equal, and they don't want to go too long being lopsided. Obviously, the stocks move a lot quicker than betting lines, but it's the same process. It's not anything different than that.
John Ryan joining us, everybody, sportsmemo.com. And John, I'll tell you, we have got listeners in this chat room that have had cancer and beat it. Congratulations to you, man.
Oh,
I'll tell you,
Thank you.
it's you know, and I've had friends who's been in that situation, and man, it's one of those really interesting things where just such a terrible curse can turn into such a wonderful gift. And I hope that's what happened to you, because a new lease on life, a second chance to breathe, is just one of the greatest things. So congratulations on that. Guys, before the Sunday Night Football, real quick, we got a great promo for John Ryan over at sportsmemo.com. The promo code is JR29, 3-day all. Yes, John Ryan, $29 instead of $69. Plus, we will give you $25 back in wager bucks. It's only available to first-time Sports Memo customers. So please head over to Sports Memo. Check out John Ryan. This guy knows his stuff. JR29. John, let's talk Sunday Night Football. Baltimore -7 versus the New England Patriots. And, you know, I said this on the NFL presidential address. I really feel like the Patriots are the play here. I just don't know why. It's just one of those instinctual gut feelings, to be honest with you. Where are you going?
Well, I could agree with that. I'm going to tear this game apart by giving support for both teams, and then I'll wrap it all, I'll bundle it all together. But the Ravens have been the NFL's best road team, going 26-1 against the spread for 77%, and they've covered by an average of 9 points a game since 2017. The Giants are the only team that is even close to them at 21-8, believe it or not, at 72% covers. Baltimore's 11-4 as a road favorite since 2017. And when favored by 6 or more points, they're 6-1-1 against the spread for 86% winning bets. And they've covered by an average of 11 points in those games. So I could just stop right here and say the play's the Ravens. But that, this is the fun part now. We just dig into a little bit further, and we find out that the Ravens have never won with Harbaugh as the coach in Foxborough. So that's a red flag there to bet the Ravens. And the Ravens, too, when they're facing a non-divisional foe, not named the Patriots, they're 14-3-1 against the spread for 82%. Another supporting factor for them. We know the Ravens love to run the ball, and they lead the NFL again this year, 259 rushing attempts. But they're running the ball more in the perimeter. They're stretching the defenses from sideline to sideline instead of up the middle. In fact, they rank 4th in the NFL with only 35 rushing plays up the middle of the gut. So they're attacking the perimeter and trying to stretch the defenses, which has been fairly effective. So let's move over to the Patriots here. Of course, you always want to bet Bill Belichick as an underdog. I mean, who doesn't? That's been one of the pros' favorite bets, I think, since probably 2005. But this year's different. The Patriots ranked 30th in scoring, 166 points. They're 20th in the league with slightly, I think it's around 2,900 offensive yards, and they're 18th, averaging 5.6 yards per play. These are not Belichick-like numbers from in his career, and they're outliers for sure. It's uncharacteristic with the number of turnovers this team has had, the mental mistakes, penalties that have cost them scoring opportunities. There hasn't been a team that has been as bad on both sides of the ball for Belichick than this one. And that's why it makes me hard to initially back them. Their ground game is pretty good. They rank 6th, gaining 4.9 yards per rush, and they're second best with 13 touchdowns. And they're gaining, I think they're 5th in rushing yards with about 1,275. So that part's good, but it's not translating to Newton or whoever else was under center for the offense. You have Julian Edelman, who somehow is only caught 55% of the targets that he's been involved with this season, which is just head scratching right there. So can you trust the Patriots personnel? And here's where you get into Belichick. He's 11-3 in his career as a home dog. All right, that sounds like we should bet New England and call it a day. But he hasn't been a home dog since 2014. And I think that puts in perspective how different this team is. It's the worst offensive team he's ever had in terms of points per game. It's the worst defensive team he's ever coached in terms of points allowed. So it makes it really hard to pull the trigger on the Patriots. I mean, I want to, just like the Prez said, I want to do the same thing. The gut tells me to do it. But it's pretty hard with this, just the few things that I've just outlined.
Yeah.
So, John, I just want to clarify here because you gave out a couple numbers that I think are wrong. You said the Ravens are 26-1 ATS on the road, and the Giants are the only team that's close. No. Baltimore.
They're 20 wins, 6 losses, 1 push.
Oh, 20-6. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounded like you said 26-1. I didn't understand.
It's like
that Harbaugh's never won in New England, and I remember not once but twice in the postseason where the Ravens with Harbaugh went up and won at Gillette Stadium. So if we just look at the regular season results, the postseason results might tell us something different. So just to clarify, I want to make sure
that's a good
John,
Harbaugh has gone up there and won.
John, I want you to know that I live with this every day. Literally, I can say hello, welcome to Wager Talk Today, and Teddy would be like, it's Wager Talk Today. It's just a permanent fixture. So welcome to the team, man. If you're not corrected by Teddy, you're not loved by Teddy. Anyway, so what really is the bottom line here? I mean, my gut is saying New England. The numbers say Baltimore. I feel like you're saying the same thing. Over, under, anything, or is this just a game that's too tough to bet?
The machine learning tools come in handy here. And I don't have those in front of me right now, but there's a high probability that New England's going to score 24 more points in this game, and they're going to have more rushing yards than their average. So they're going to have 50 more rushing yards than their season average, and that puts them into a very, very strong ATS situation that's somewhere close to 90%. The other thing fundamentally here is I do think the Patriots' defensive front can handle that offensive line. And most specifically, the Ravens, are balanced ground attack both right and left, but Ronnie Stanley, in my personnel rankings, is probably by far the best tackle in football right now. So they do like to run behind him more times than not. So that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch when the game unfolds. Because sometimes I'll watch the line of scrimmage and see, and not the ball. Because if you watch who's getting the edge in the line of scrimmage, then that also can give you some advantages for second half bets, in-game betting, which I love to do.
That's
it's like trade.
Point, John.
That's Ronnie Stanley's out for the year, of course, for Baltimore. He's not involved in their offense anymore. Stanley out for the year.
Oh my God, I don't have him checked off. I kid you not. Well,
that's okay, guys.
All right, so
John, it happens to the best of us. Listen, we got to end this show. It's what? Oh my God, Teddy, another gift, man. All the people are coming out to wish you a happy birthday, Teddy. What an incredible week! What a fun time. John, I can't thank you enough. Matt Joseph, awesome stuff with your props. Rob Veno, like always, killed it at the top of the show. Big shout out to Joe Ranieri for handling the production of the show. All the guys watching us. Teddy, take us home.
Enjoy the games. Good luck this weekend. We'll be back again on Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon on the East Coast, right here on Wager Talk Today.
First-time customers at WagerTalk.com and Sportsmemo.com receive $25 in WagerBucks after your first initial purchase. All you have to do is sign up, make your purchase, and you'll get $25 in credit.